Yeah, we're back-ish, sort of. It's that time of the year where there's a lot of traveling going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm traveling next week, too.
Oh boy. Okay.
Actually, it's
Your your um
spring break
your
next week.
your work travel. Oh, okay. So next week's not work travel. It's
Yeah.
okay.
It's legit. Although, we'll see. The weather looks like it's going to be bad. So maybe we'll do the podcast from the road. I don't know.
Oh,
Um,
here's what I do know. I looked over at my little weather widget and it says 2-8,
I
and
know.
those numbers are in the wrong order.
So here's the problem with that is a
Mm-hmm.
couple days ago, or a couple weeks. I was gonna say a couple weeks, and it was like a couple days, but it was last week because I whatever muddle the words. It was like 70 something. I need to
Yeah.
cut the grass before we leave, and I'm gonna be cutting the grass in like a parka because it's so
Oh
dang
boy.
cold out. Like the grass is like growing, and we're gonna be gone for a while. It's like whatever.
Sorry.
Well, I guess my parents are coming over to take care of the dog, so maybe
You could
Dad will
just
cut it. He won't.
yeah, put it in the hallway as a hint.
Yeah. Just leave the
Little
gas
bow,
can in the
little
garage.
bow on it. Yeah.
Oh, anyways, back from the office. That was exciting or something. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we've got a Microsoft event happening today.
Mm-hmm.
Future of work.
Future of work. Oh God, how long has Microsoft been talking about the future
I
of
was
work?
about
Since
to
the
say
mid
this.
'90s, probably.
Yeah.
Office 4.2 or something.
I mean, have we still done the whole digital transformation yet thing? Are we still doing that?
I still have paper.
Yeah.
That's my big thing. I don't care about the flying cars anymore. I just want to get rid of the paper.
I'd just like to find the person who said, you know what, PDFs are better. Because, are they? Are they?
I just want to. I want to not have to. I want to be able to biometrically do anything. Like just be like identify myself to get on a plane, make a purchase in a store. Can we get on that? I don't know.
Can we blame Apple for that one since they're now being sued or we're going to be sued by what is it, DOJ or FTC or one of those three-letter acronyms?
Yeah, DOJ, I think.
Yeah, about unfair advantages. It's a great headline. We'll see it resolved in the next 19 to 29 years and then
These companies could save themselves a lot of grief and help all of their collective customers a lot by just doing the right thing. You know,
where's the fun in that though?
wow. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, I don't know what to tell. I don't know what to tell you other than the people still complaining about the audio feed. It should be so if you're on Apple
Yeah.
devices, it should be fixed. I need Paul's help, which I messaged him late on Sunday, and he didn't respond to me. No,
Well,
just
I did. Are you talking about the
yeah,
code
yeah.
you were?
Well, I need. It was like a time sensitive thing. So,
Right.
So what's the
What?
TLDR here is there's two basic
Yeah.
feeds that we have to update. One in
Right.
iTunes or
Mhm.
Apple Podcast Manager, and the
Right.
other one in Google Podcast Manager.
Yeah.
Google Podcast Manager, I need that token from an email that will get sent, whatever, doesn't matter. And then once that feed's updated, then everything should be back to being good. So what I'm trying to tell everybody here is if you really want to listen to this, go buy an iPhone.
Yeah. It sounded like what you just said was if you just use Apple stuff, everything's better.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Is that the DOJ knocking?
Yeah. Can you
Yep,
really
yep. DOJ's
gotta-
knocking at my door. They want a statement. Like, did Apple force you to
subscribe
do
to
that?
that one, but we'll get there. We have some problems. It's March, right?
Yeah.
And what that means to nobody but me is that 1 year ago, we made this transition at the site. I also can't speak today, meaning I own it now. And there's all kinds of problems with me owning stuff because I am irresponsible and I'm not interested in the business side of stuff. But I will not say that this will be the last such problem. You would think like 1 year in, we've hit everything and now everything should be fine. But the problem Brad is barely describing because who cares about the details? It just involves like accounts and
Yep, account transfer. That's it.
yeah, it's a weird problem. So it is, I hope one of the last, if not the last of these kind of issues, but throughout the past year,
Hmm.
Not every month, but every once in a while I run into a thing with the business where it's like, oh crap. And I got to contact George and that, say, hey, how did we do this, or what's going on with this? And how does this work? And I thought we were done with that.
Yeah.
But this is one, so I won't go into all the details about why I can't get into it. But as I told Laurent the other day when you texted, I might have to reset passwords and get
We'll
it.
get it figured out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. So
Actually,
I'm hoping today.
What I was going to tell Paul after this is actually I have some time this morning finally because we really.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
wanted to go over some podcast stuff with you that is very much related to this. So yeah,
Yeah.
we should figure this out. Yeah, let's figure it out.
Because we launched a product yesterday. Yeah, it feels like
Yeah.
Um,
I had trouble figuring out the not to transfer right onto a different topic here, but I had trouble figuring out the kind of history of this product, which is
yeah. Well, so here's some fun backstory. You will hear nobody else but me.
okay.
So
Yeah.
Stardock has a legacy. It's not a legacy product because we just revived it. It's an old product called Object Dock. This thing has been around, I think, since Windows 7, maybe even earlier
Okay.
than that. Like
You could
it has
imagine when Mac OS 10 was a big deal in the beginning.
actually, it might have
like,
been around since XP.
yeah, just like a way to bring kind of what Windows users would have been jealous of.
Yeah.
You're right. To Windows, right?
Yeah. So we look at the portfolio of stuff and it's like, okay,
Mhm.
what are we going to do next? What's our next thing? And it's like, okay, let's bring Object Dock, up to the modern age because it hadn't been updated. It never supported Windows
Yeah.
10. It obviously never supported Windows 11.
Okay. That's one of the things I didn't understand.
Last supported Windows 8. And as it turns out, Paul Thurrott, when you open up the sarcophagus of archive code that is this product, it was like
Yeah.
like bats were flying out. Like we had like
Yeah,
the installer was just we just basically had to delete it and start over. A brand new installer.
Right.
I think it was last updated 11 years ago.
Wow. Okay.
So
that explains my confusion. All right. Good.
yeah. And so like the one it's a good app. Like the core functionality.
Yeah, it is.
Is fine.
It is. It's a very good app, actually.
We call it we're trying to figure out what to do with this because rebuilding the UI of the settings panel is actually a very long and arduous task compared to what actually needed to happen to make the app work. So we focused
Right.
on one, it's 64-bit. We made the core experience like on your desktop high DPI aware. So it supports anything up, the high DPI standards and all that stuff. All of like the UX experience is all updated. But the settings panel is like this low hanging fruit of
Yeah.
pain. And so we opted not to update it, at least not yet, to high
Right.
DPI aware because like to get the 64-bit, to get the the zoom functionality, which is like what 99.9% people use, like the Mac OS style stuff, it was like a 2-month process or whatever. If we wanted to do the UI, the settings panel, you could double that or triple that just to do the settings panel. And we're like,
Yeah. It's one of those things that like it probably has to be done at some point, but
exactly. But we were like, we'll just get this out the door. We won't call it a new product. It's just literally just called enhanced. And if
Right.
people like the dock and they know what it was, like it'll feel just like it was.
yeah, I've been using a Mac a lot lately in anticipation of my MacBook Air, which actually arrived last night at the last second.
Oh, nice. How is
Yeah.
that, by the way? Is that the
It-
M3?
yeah, it's unbelievable. It's depressingly good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll be
Did you put Windows on ARM on it yet through Parallels?
not yet.
Because-
I haven't really done much with it yet, other than
Get a
just
box of
basic-
tissues because you're going to be crying. You're like, this is
Well,
so
I know
good. What happened?
no, I have an M1 Mac that I'll be trading in, but I do have parallels on that, and yeah, no, I know it's good. I don't know why I went off on this. Oh well, anyway, the dock, whatever. Like spending more time with Mac OS the past week, trying to overcome some of my stumbling blocks,
Mhm.
keyboard control, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I mean the dock. I don't know the dock.
It's a dock.
I don't know.
Like,
I don't. It's fine. Like it's fine. Honestly, I feel like we've almost. Well, God, I mean, the things you work on are all kind of shell related. So, to me, it makes sense in a family of Windows shell products.
Mhm.
Like it is, and honestly, it sort of not sort of it surpasses the way the dock works on Mac OS by allowing you to have multi,
Oh yeah, yeah.
docks and things. It's nice. Like it's a good idea.
The other, not to just keep, because there's a lot of product planning that goes into something like this. Uh, because Microsoft rewrote the taskbar,
Yeah.
like that's another thing that somebody who used it can be like, it's just like the old thing. Why are you doing? Like we had to completely redo
Yeah,
that part because the taskbar has
right.
been completely rewritten since then. So it's
There's
like, yeah,
one thing when I was in Mexico, I had some computer issues, and one of the things I did that I wasn't expecting to do was I was using an older 16 by 9 laptop a lot on that trip,
hmm
and I did because it feels so constrained now. I'm used to these kind of taller screens. I started hiding the taskbar on that computer only,
sure,
and whatever. So you can do that in Windows. And so I thought with the dock you have, that object dock, that it's like, okay, you can hide the taskbar. I mean, big deal, it's still there,
Mhm.
right? But actually, when you hide the taskbar using object dock, it hides the taskbar. Like you can
Yeah, permanently.
actually hide. Like yeah, you can actually. So it is in
There's a
effect
caveat to
replacement.
that though.
Okay, but I mean, but for just basic use case, I mean,
hmm
I don't know. To me, it works well. Like I think
Yeah.
it makes sense.
The caveat here, because
Mhm.
again, when we were looking at all this, is you can only do that on the primary monitor. So
Uh, okay.
for anybody who's like looking at this and downloads a trial or
No,
whatever, um,
actually, I noticed that. I was going to say I used it on two monitors. Yeah, I think I noticed that actually.
so I can. It's because of the way the secondary monitor is written into the
Hmm.
functionality of Windows that it's not that it can't be done. It was more of a conscious choice of again, like, is
Right,
that worth another 4 weeks of effort?
right, right.
I don't know. 4 weeks might be overselling, but whatever. It's not off the
Uh,
table, but it was whatever.
no,
Um,
I look. You guys brought back a utility that's still very much useful today. In
yeah,
fact,
that was the whole
you might
idea.
argue that every step along the way, like Windows 8 made this happen when they changed the UI dramatically,
Yep.
and I think Windows 11 is still controversial in some circles. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, I think it has a place.
I think the Epic Store has a place too. They also announced their
Yeah, there's a
store over
couple
there with
places
some
apparently.
nice little fees to help support their
Yeah,
efforts. I don't.
I sorry, God, I'm sorry. Sorry.
I mean, we're gonna see. Here's my prediction. We're gonna see a race to the bottom of these third-party stores of fees, right?
Oh, over on fees, yes.
Because
Okay.
Microsoft's gonna come and be like, okay, Epic's what, 13%, 12%, whatever. Like we're 5. They haven't said that, but it's like we're 5%, and then Steam will
So
come out with a mobile store and they'll be like, we're 2%. Like it's
Epic, Microsoft, Meta, and one other company have all petitioned the court to explain that Apple's
yep.
baloney is not meeting the letter of the law, let alone the spirit of the law. And that's what they're aiming for. Like, in other words, get rid of these stupid new fees and allow us to actually bill customers accordingly. And we're going to see prices come down. This is
Mm-hmm.
it blows my mind that anyone like argues for Apple in this case. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's, it, I don't know. It just boggles my mind. There's no sense to it at all. But yes, these prices have to come down, and they will. I think the U's given indications that they're not happy with this, and that this is not meeting the
Mhm.
requirements, right? So we'll see what happens there. And as soon as today, like you referenced earlier, the DOJ
Yep.
is going to charge Apple with antitrust violations in the United States for this exact thing. All this App Store baloney, this thing that provides zero security for anything, has nothing to do with security, but has everything to do with Apple being a gatekeeper and preventing companies from communicating with their own customers.
Yep.
And competing fairly in a system where Apple Music doesn't pay a 30% fee to Apple, but Spotify does, or is supposed to. Actually, I don't think
Mhm.
Spotify does. But that third parties just don't. They're forced to play by different arbitrary rules. And again, I'm sorry, I could go on and on about this. I don't understand. I just I said it up front. These companies could just do the right thing, and they would be fine. They would
But
be fine financially.
Where's the fun in
All
that,
of them.
Paul Thurrott? Where's the fun in?
The fun in that is they market it like this. They market
Yeah,
it like
Apple
they're
does.
this altruistic. We're here for the world. We're the
Mhm.
best company. I mean, you could be
Mm.
that company, and you would still be the biggest company on earth, or one of the biggest companies on earth, whatever they are now.
They're all terrible.
I
They're
want them to
unique
be that.
things.
They are all terrible. That is the takeaway. And I think understanding that as a customer, as a fan, or whatever you are, is important because I keep saying this now, but there was a period of time there where I thought Microsoft had the ethical high ground. I thought under Satya Nadella they were actually a better company. And of course, what you realize eventually, or what I realized eventually, what comes out is no, they're not.
No.
They're just they're all terrible, like you said.
And Microsoft just hired, or whatever you want to call it, like a former DeepMind spin-out company for it's like 1.8 billion or something like that. It's a weird thing because they didn't buy the company, but
I know, but they took everyone important.
They took everyone important. Apparently, too, they're like paying a bunch of money to make all the investors whole. But apparently, Microsoft was like a lead investor in this company.
Yep.
So
I know this whole thing is. If you thought OpenAI was a little screwy,
Mhm.
This thing reeks of what it's like. What is happening here? This is they did this with OpenAI, are doing this with OpenAI. They're really bypassing any regulatory involvement.
Yep.
Is what they're doing.
Yeah.
To essentially buy themselves into a market that they know to be super important and lucrative. And they're also one of the few companies that can kind of handle the cost of that right now because AI is very expensive. And I'm sorry, like we don't have the right words for this. Like people get too hung up on things like monopoly. They're like, well, they don't have a monopoly. And it's like, yeah, the DMA kind of gets this right because it's not about monopoly. It's about scale, size, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you're so big and so dominant that you don't have to factor in normal market, dynamics, you can just waltz outside of the rules. We need a term for that. It's not a monopoly, but it doesn't matter. You have the same market power as a monopoly.
Like you're just a juggernaut because you have so much money that you can say, look, here's 10 companies, each of you get $1 billion.
This is the thing I think a lot of people don't get. And so in the EU they call that a gatekeeper. It's an okay term, but we need something where we can point to it and say, yeah, we know immediately what you mean by this. And it's monopoly, whatever. Those are good words. They're not exactly right for what we're describing here, but because Apple only has 50% of the blah blah blah, and yeah. Don't get caught up in that kind of thing. Remember that Apple has 1 billion plus customers, users, right? And just consider the market powers, and look at the actual abuses that occur. And again, we need like a word. I wish there was an easy way to say this, but maybe we'll work toward that. Like the word enshittification is such a great word, but when you have that kind of power, you can afford to enshittify your products to benefit yourself and disadvantage your customers, your partners, your developers, your competitors. Whatever.
There's no true recourse for this because you're so large.
Right. What are you going to do?
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm sorry, I'm babbling here, but this week, there's a lot of interesting stuff happening. So we got a Microsoft event today. Apple may be charged with antitrust charges in the United States today. I got a new MacBook Air. Look, you guys, you embraced ARM at Startup. I will absolutely buy an ARM-based Surface laptop as well when that comes out. I'm ready to ride this train. I think I also believe this is the future. I'm ready.
Yeah, just don't put ObjectDoc on it because it doesn't support it. Whoops, wrong button.
Oh, that was a fun little animation.